It's week 2 of Bachelor in Paradise, and if you thought all the drama was over, then you don't know how intense the action can get when a gaggle of hot singles looking for love head down to Mexico and spend all their time drinking and causing trouble. Before we get to all the juicy details, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you can always be the first to know when we're about to get into some Paradise drama. This week's beachfront dumpster fire opened with the first rose ceremony of Paradise 2019, and the guys have the power. And if you think sweet, dedicated Dylan is going to give up on Hannah after she continued to make out with other guys, including Blake last week, you are wrong. Dylan gave his rose to Hannah and she gladly took it. This doesn't mean that she's totally committed to Dylan now. Why would I say such a thing, you ask? Well, only because Monday's episode drew to a close right after Dylan decided to interrupt Hannah and Blake, who were blatantly making out on the beach right in front of him and everyone else. Come on, you two. We already know what Blake is thinking, but Hannah? It's like she's trying to hurt Dylan as much as possible and he's done nothing to deserve it. Anyway, let's go back to the rose ceremony. Tayshia had said that she wouldn't be interested in taking Blake's rose should he offer it to her, but she certainly changed her mind when that rose ceremony came around. Here's the thing though, we all know that Blake only gave his rose to Tayshia because Dylan got the chance to offer Hannah a rose first. Plus, after Tayshia got the rose, she told us very directly that this was just a means to an end so she can stick around and try to de-Blake her love life. Well played, girl. Well played. Other ladies who got rosed up: Demi accepted Derek's rose, Kaylin took Cam's rose, Christina got a rose from Chris, Nicole had her own red rose from Clay, Katie was presented with a rose by Wills, Sydney said thanks to Kevin's offer, and Onyeka got the prize from John Paul Jones. But some ladies were left out of the fun, so we said goodbye to Annalise, Bibiana, and Jane this week. The next day brings a bright spot though, as hibiscus suit wearing, stuffed dog drowning male model Jordan is back in paradise. And he wastes no time in telling everyone that this is his beach and he is the mayor of paradise. Jordan is just getting started because he got himself a date card from Chris Harrison when he arrived and stumbles into the love pentagon that Blake started building long before any of these folks showed up on the beach. Jordan makes it his mission to get to the bottom of why, oh why, Blake has, and I quote, put his spoon in all the pudding. Yes! Jordan's bold next step is to ask Hannah out on a date. What? And Hannah accepts. What is happening? But then, as Jordan is picking out his date outfit, Hannah comes to him and tells the truth. She's connected to Dylan and is still trying to figure out where she and Blake stand, so she doesn't want to add a date with Jordan to an already confusing situation. Thank you, Hannah. As you might imagine, Jordan is super pissed that he got turned down for a date on his beach, so he goes to Blake, tells him he's better than this, and he needs to hammer out the mess he's made. Good talk, Jordan. Next, we get the best surprise when Big Mike shows up, fresh from getting dumped by Hannah Brown on The Bachelorette. He's all smiles, and he should be because everyone loves Mike, especially the ladies. They are all quite happy when he hits the beach, and Tayshia in particular is so taken by his physical presence that she clutches her ample bosom when she first lays eyes on him. He takes Kaylin on a date, and they have an amazing time, as anyone who dates Mike probably would. But this leaves Cam, who tried to woo Kaylin earlier with a sonnet? Poem? Maybe it was a treatise or a manifesto? Anyway, I don't know. My point is that Cam is left in the dust and alone again. Blake tells Hannah he's all in with her, and Hannah totally goes for it, leading to that awkward sitch on the beach I mentioned earlier between those two and a very frustrated Dylan. But the love triangles do not stop there. The next night sees Demi finally come clean to Derek about her feelings for her lady love back home, but more importantly, 2 new dudes show up in Mexico and they cause some rifts between couples that looked like they were going to go the distance. Dean from Becca's season of The Bachelorette is back on the beach and he's homeless, jobless, and looks like a 70s porn star? It's confusing, but it seems to be working for him because he immediately hits it off with Kaylin, takes her on a date, and I'm living in my van Dean manages to steal Kaylin away from Mike. I don't know what anything means anymore. Christian has also hit Mexico and he's also from Becca's season. And pay close attention because this is about to get very twisty. So, Christian and Jordan had beef on The Bachelorette last year. When Christian shows up and takes Nicole on a date that is hot and heavy all the way through, he creates a love triangle between himself, Nicole, and Clay. After they return from their date, Clay takes Nicole aside to get a read on the situation, but then Christian interrupts and tries to, quote, finish the date. They get into an increasingly heated argument about when dates are over on Paradise, and then finally ask Nicole what she wants. This is not looking so good, Clay. The next night, when Nicole and Christian are cuddling and having a private chat under a piñata, believe it or not, that detail is important, Clay decides to pull Christian's own move on him and goes over to steal Nicole. Again, they start to get into it, but Nicole is getting nervous, so Clay is the bigger man and leaves so that he doesn't make things any more awkward for her. Whew. Now, this is when the whole thing really gets weird, because when Clay takes a seat and starts telling the other guys what happened and why he walked away, Jordan, of all people, decides to go and defend Clay's honor by running over to the cozy spot where Nicole and Christian are talking and take down the piñata. Why is this piñata so important? I don't understand, but it doesn't matter because the first real fistfight of Bachelor in Paradise history breaks out between Christian and Jordan. Oh boy. So, what's next? My guess is that violence of any kind won't be tolerated, meaning that Jordan and suave Christian will probably be gone not too long after producers and guards and maybe bartender Wells manage to break up that fight. The question now is whether or not Nicole will take off to be with Christian or stay with Clay, who's now her number 2 guy. Katie is clearly hooked on old man Chris, and he doesn't seem to have his eye on anyone else, so that might actually work out, at least for a bit. John Paul Jones memorized a little bit of Shakespeare for Tasia last night, and she dug it, even though he forgot some of it, so they're going to make a go of it. Mike still has his pick of the eligible ladies in Paradise, and he's going to try to find his person, but I don't think it's going to happen now that Kaylin is with Dean. Hannah and Blake are going to continue to throw their hotness for each other all the way in poor Dylan's face, and someone is going to cry a lot. Maybe Hannah, but probably Dylan. The women control the next rose ceremony, and it's not looking so good for Rappin' Cam or Beefcake Kevin, so they will likely be going home, along with 2 other guys because the ladies outnumber the men by 4 right now. Head down to the comments and let us know how you felt about this week's drama. Are you already over it or dying for more? And while you're down there, we're dying for you to hit subscribe. The show will be back next week, and so will we. So stick with CinemaBlend for the rundown on all the makeouts, breakups, breakdowns, and scandals.